Boom, coming in hot, Chinchy. What's going on today, brother?
Coming in hot, bro. Remember, first of all, we're on FanDuel, Ohio. What's up, everybody out there?
Yeah, what's up, FanDuel Ohio? Let's go.
Dude, remember when you did the boom when we had, speaking of Ohio and Cincinnati, remember we had Aaron Boone on and he dropped a boom on you before you could do your boom?
Yeah, dude, I was on the network yesterday. Who dropped? Oh, Brian Kenny's like, we got Sean Casey in the show. Boom.
Cool. People look at our clips. They don't watch our show. Watch our show. Don't just watch clips. I had a question. This I thought about this today.
Yeah.
Is there a vintage, like your era, Reds player text chain? Are you guys on a text chain anywhere?
Oh yeah, dude. We're on it because we have the fantasy that we 1999. We started our Reds fantasy draft, dude. We're still doing it.
Really? Who's in on it, and how many boxes of ZD does it cost?
Me, Pete Harnish, Greg Vaughn, Booney, Kernsey, Dunner. Then we have some randoms in there too, like Matt Clement's in there.
Nice.
With Matt Clement's, great. Ryan Zimmerman's in there, I think. And then we got Denny Nagel, Hal Morris. Legit. I mean, it's legit. Like, I'm forgetting a couple guys, but dude, yeah, we still stay in touch. You know what I mean? We're still out there. Harnish gets his thing going. It's so freaking fun. Dude, the greatest times of my life was that 99 team when we got together for the fantasy draft and Harnish was running it and all these and the whole team is basically there. Not everyone's in it. Whole team's there, and Harnish is just crushing guys.
Unruly.
Every pick you had, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Harnish, and meanwhile, it's like Terrell Davis, best running back in the league, and he's like, ooh, bad pick. He's
That's so good.
Oh, it's so great, dude. So many good guys along the years with those Reds teams, and yeah, we still stay in touch. Matter of fact, I was just going to text Danny Graves today, just because. Sometimes I think of Gravy because he's such a great dude, and I want to be like, bro, I just want to text you, tell you I love you.
That's so good. Let's stick on the Reds, bro. Their pitching is unbelievable, but their offense is also unbelievable in a negative way. Like, what's your take right now, looking into where they're at?
Well, you know what? After coming off that series with the Giants, where they're sitting, they're close, dude. There's so many good things to like about the Reds. I think when they got 2 out of 3 in that series, should have swept them. They were up 6-1 late. They just kind of fell apart, and then your Shrimpsy hit that walk-off. But the offense is coming. Spencer Steer really didn't have a spring training. He had a couple good nights in that series, starting to swing the bat a little bit. De La Cruz doing his thing. I mean, the offense is coming. They put up in the series before, they put up some runs against the Brewers. They're starting to get things going. And those 3 shutouts in a row was a little nerve-wracking, but this offense is definitely better than that. McLean's banged up a little bit, so they're going to get things going. But the reason you believe in the Reds and the reason you believe that they're going to be really, really good is that pitching, dude. I mean, when you see Greene and Lodolo back-to-back, I mean, Singer's there too sitting, Nick Martinez. They have some legit arms, man. Legit arms in that rotation.
Statistically, they're leading the National League in WHIP with a .98. Wow. Their opponent's batting average is 200 on a dot. I think that's at least third in the NL, maybe third in the big leagues. They're not striking anybody out, but here's what they also aren't doing: walking anybody. Their pitching staff throws strikes, 29 walks this season in 9, 10, 11, 12, like 13 games. They're leading major leagues in walks as far as not giving them up. And like you said, dude, Hunter Greene is a guy. He is a star. He is an ace. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. Oh, dude, now he's an ace. In the new starting pitcher power rankings that MLB.com just came out with, they said now there's a new king in town, guys. Obviously we talk about Skeens and Logan Gilbert and Scooble, and there's some great pitchers. Pretty soon, Hunter Greene is going to be a household name, not just a name in Cincinnati, not just a name in the Central, household name. I want to read this right here. 8 years after the Reds take him as the number 2 pick out of high school, he's 25 years old, dude. 25 years old. 22 and 23, some ups and downs, learning the way, learning the ropes, learning, how to pitch. And then with some injuries too. And then he was an all-star last year, finished 8th in the Cy Young, posted a 2.75 last year across 26 starts. 2025, though, let's listen to this one. After falling one out short of a shutout in San Francisco on Monday, he has a 1.31 ERA with 23 punch-outs to 3 walks, dude.
Crazy.
Holding opponents to 139 average. Hunter Greene ranking number 1 right now in MLB.com's starting pitching power rankings. And for good reason, dude. This kid is an absolute stud. And you know what? It makes me think of a guy I played with later in my career, early on in his career. 06, 07, I played with Justin Verlander. I look at Greene as like, when you saw Verlander's ascension, like, man, this guy, the way he works, how he's starting to navigate the game, putting together his pitch mix, figuring out who he is in the league. When I see Greene, I see that same kind of guy. Had some injuries, had some ups and downs, got hit around a little bit, trying to figure out, when to throw the four-seamer, when to throw his secondary pitches, how to set guys up, when to attack the zone, how to navigate through innings and not just try to punch everybody out, how to make good pitches where you get weak contact. You're starting to watch the evolution of Hunter Greene and go, wow, this guy is a thoroughbred.
He is. Figured it out last year. His last 10 starts of the 2024 season, 1.09 ERA.
Wow, really?
150 in the third innings. I think he can do 200 without even batting an eye this year. Yeah. How about this? He's averaging this season so far 99.4 miles per hour on his fastball. But it's an easy fastball, right? It's not like he's not like grunting and what is it? Dan Plesac says grunting and farting to get the ball. 99. I think he's got a smooth 99, to be honest.
It's easy cheese, man. I mean, he's at up there at 100-mile-an-hour range, a bunch of times during the game. I mean, yeah, when you look at him, and I always go back to why Tito came out of retirement. I actually think when he looked at Hunter Greene, he goes, "I got an ace." You want to win at the big league level, you got to have an ace. That's a guy that's there's number ones out there, and then there's that ace of the staff. He is that ace that you're like every fifth day. 'Cause it's just like here in Pittsburgh, we're like, oh man, when Skeens pitches every fifth day. Well, that's what they're saying in Cincinnati. Get Hunter Greene on the bump every fifth day. We know probably going to win that game. We just got to put up a couple runs like they did the other day. I think he won 2-0 or something. So listen, at the end of the day, the future is really bright in Cincy. Also, another thing you have to realize, you have to learn how to win in the big leagues. The Reds haven't won in a little bit here. You have to learn how to win those one-run games. You have to learn how to hold the lead when you need it. You have to learn how to, let your starters go longer in games and give you some length and set up that bullpen to get to the closer. So, and I think Terry Francona is the right guy to teach them how to win.
Yeah, they hired a winner.
They hired a winner to teach you, okay, guys, there's the reason that certain teams year in and year out win is because they know how to win the games they need to win over 162, beat the teams you should beat, come out with the one-run wins when you have to, setting up perfectly. Everyone has a role. And that's when I look at the Reds. I'm like, they're close to they're 5-8. And you look at some of the, games that they've lost and the offense hasn't gotten going and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, okay, they're about to get things going. So,
yeah. Now, career 302 hitter, Sean Casey in a Reds Hall of Fame. No big deal. They are 25th in the big leagues in batting average, at 206 batting average as a team. Are you seeing anything where you're like, oh, it's really close? Or are you like a little nervous about their lineup right now, or a combination of both?
Well, you know what? I tell you what, when you go up and down the lineup, I think yesterday, obviously they put some runs up against the Giants. Friedel has been okay. 615 OPS, not bad, but he's obviously in the leadoff spot. De La Cruz really hasn't even gotten going yet. I think he's going to get hot. None of these guys. I mean, Gavin Lux is sitting with a 600 OPS. Encarnacio Strand I believe he had 2 home runs early, but he's hitting 190 with a 513 OPS after 100 some at bats. Spencer Steer was hurt coming in. Like, nobody's really gotten going. I feel like he's starting to get going. he was, didn't really have a spring training because he was banged up. Fraley hasn't swung. Most of the guys just haven't swung it. The one guy who has is Jose Trevino, who is a great pickup and a great sign from the Yankees coming over. He's a great dude. I was with Trevino over in New York a couple years ago. You want to talk about a leader? Mm-hmm. They got the right guy. Nick Kroll did his homework. Obviously, that he was expendable because Austin Wells is coming big, with the Yankees. But Trevi is a leader, and that's a great guy they got. So you go up and down that lineup right now, and obviously McLean's banged up a little, I think, with a hamstring. But you go up and down that lineup right now, they just haven't gotten going, Chinch. They haven't gotten going, and that's not going to last. Those guys are too good of hitters not to get it going. So if you're sitting at 5-8, your offense hasn't gotten going yet. You've been shut out a bunch of times, but your pitching is that good. I feel good about this team, dude, because remember, there's only 149 games to go.
Yeah, that's so true. You mentioned a pitcher power rankings, Hunter Greene at the top of the list. I want to give you a couple other names on this list, and you tell me if you think they did it right, okay? Greene, number 1. Number 2, Logan Gilbert of the Mariners. Number 3, Paul Skeens. We love him. 4, Skubal. 5, Logan Webb. What's your take on that so far?
I mean, do you think young pitching? Do you think the Major League Baseball is doing pretty good with young pitching right here? I mean, you kidding me? You got Greene, Gilbert, and then you got Skeens sitting there at 22 years old. Skubal's a young buck. Just won the Cy Young. Logan Webb there at 5. There's a lot of really good young pitchers at the top of this power rankings. I love that Greene's won. I think that's awesome. Logan Gilbert's been doing it for a couple of years. He's got great stuff. Skeens had a little bit of a hiccup his last start. First time I think he's given up 5 runs. The Cardinals, for whatever reason, kind of have his number, but he is filthy. And you saw Skubal the other day against the Yankees in 30-degree weather, just breaking bats and pretty nasty. So I think they got it right, man. Those are the best pitchers in the game, and I love that they're all young, and because I love to see Major League Baseball being in a great place with the young stars. They got a lot of position player stars, but then you see the young pitching, and you're like, wow, there's some guys that throw some gas that are at the top of that.
Yeah, I also like that they're pitching a little more like these past couple of years. Are starting to see guys pitch a little deeper into games than they had. You look at 5 years ago. If you pitch 5 innings, you're done. You walk out and then fine. Yeah. You got to get to 7-8 innings, whatever. One guy, remember, our boy Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter is dominating right now. He's not in the top 10 in these rankings, but 2 games pitched, 10 innings, and his ERA is under 1. And that's our boy, Al Leiter, kid. He dives in big time into the mental side of the game, which you love and Al loves, right?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing about Jack is, you can't teach experience. He got sent down, I believe, last year to go work on some mechanical flaws that Chris Young and the organization saw, went down, then came back and really did well. And you could see him starting to push that envelope a little bit is Jack Leiter figuring it out? So far this season, man, he's definitely doing a lot of great things out there where you feel like, man, he's starting to figure it out. We talked about Hunter Greene. We talked about you can't teach experience. Paul Skeens says the other day, listen, the Cardinals got to me. He's like, I didn't make good pitches. You make bad pitches in the big leagues, they're going to hit you. You put the ball out over the plate and up, it's going to get tattooed. They don't miss up here a lot, those hitters. They're hunting those pitches. So when you see Jack Leiter, a lot of times his last year or so being in the big leagues, just a lot of balls up, a lot of misses, wasn't able to put guys away, and you're starting to see spotting the fastball, the location on the fastball is better, getting strike 1, and he's able to get to that nasty curveball, changeup, slider combination, and he's starting to figure it out. So, yeah, it's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, and by the way, figuring it out, especially with pitchers, dude, I'm looking at Al Leiter's stats right now. He did not – first of all, he was a super, super duper star prospect with the Yankees. Then they traded him to the Blue Jays. He did not figure it out until 1995. He was 29, dude. 29, he was 11-11. That's when he started throwing. That was 183 innings. Career highs, and his career really started at 29 years old. There's something to be said to have patience with a professional baseball player, right? Like Sean Casey at 23 years old versus Sean Casey at 28 years old. Right. 2 different human beings, I think.
2 different human beings. You kidding me? When you're young, man, I always called it the third deck effect. You look up and there's a third deck and you're like, we're in the show. this is a different animal here.
Yeah,
Like,
because
you know,
in the minor leagues, for people that don't understand it, in the minor leagues, there's no
there's
stand.
no third deck. There's no upper deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, people could say, oh, it's just baseball. Well, it's a little different. You know, it's when you first get up there, visually, it's so different. It feels greater. You know what I mean? Now, there's some dudes that come up and they just rake right away. And, you know, that's not everybody. You know what I mean? So I know for me, there was a learning curve. I got injured when I first got up there. I had to come back from that. You know, finally felt comfortable. You know, you also have that doubt sometimes, like, you know, am I good enough to play up here? You know, these are the best players in the world. So there's a learning curve, man. Then when you start to realize that you know what, I do belong here. I remember in 1999, I homered opening day, a 3-run homer over Barry Bonds' glove, left center, tied the game, put us up I think late in the game. He jumped up just over his glove, his Oppo homer. And I remember that moment thinking, like, I belong here. I don't know why it was that moment. I go back and think about it, but I belong here. Like, I'm good enough to play up here. I think that's where Jack Leiter's getting to. Like, he's had a couple good starts. He's had some success now where he knows, no, my stuff plays up here. I just need to execute better. And when you start executing better through experience, that's when you start really dominating.
Yeah, I got your stats up here right now. So 97, you came up with Cleveland. You had 12 plate appearances. You got 2 hits.
Yep.
What was that feeling? What was that? Was that a September call up thing? Or?
Yeah, September call up, dude. I got my first. I just brought this up the other day because my first big league game, I got called up against the White Sox, and none of our equipment showed up. So I remember we were talking about Tony Fernandez the other day, was the all-time leader in games played for the Blue Jays, and I was like, I got a great Tony Fernandez story. That's when I went over to the rack and I was like, oh my God, I got no equipment and I needed the one flap helmet, and I go up, the only 7 1/4 lefty helmet up there was Tony Fernandez, and walked up to Tony Fernandez. I'm like, Tony, I'm Sean Casey. You know, I just got called up. Any chance I could use your helmet, 7 1/4, you know what I mean? He's like, no problem, hermano, you know? So I ended up using Tony Fernandez's helmet, Manny Ramirez's bat, and Jeff Manto's batting gloves for my first ever hit in the big leagues, dude. First at bat, 1-2 slider. Jeff Darwin hooked one in the hole. Bam. I was like, let's go. It was incredible. So that was my first knock there. And you would talk about, like, I had just hit 380 in the minors, but still getting up to the big leagues, you're like, it's just different, man. You look down, there's Jim Thome, there's Matt Williams, there's Omar Vizquel, there's Manny Ramirez. I mean, there's some just Dave Justice, Marquise Grissom. I mean, there's just some big dogs, Sandy Alomar Jr. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I don't know if I belong here. Like, get me back to AA, AAA kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I got that first hit. I got another knock chance. It still bothers me. I was 2 for 3. And I remember a guy named Jay Robertson, who drafted me with the Indians at the time. He was like, dude, he's like, you want to keep those 3s on your baseball card. So make sure, like, if you get 10 at bats, you got to get at least 3 hits. So I'm 2 from my first 3 chance. I'm like, let's go. I end up going like 0 for my next, you know, whatever. I think I hit 200. It was 2 for 10 or whatever, something like that. And I always look at the back of the card. I'm like, I needed one more hit to get 3 for 10, another 300. Cause you know, because sometimes you just look at the averages, but yeah, I must admit, when I first got called up to the Cleveland Indians, I didn't feel, I was nervous. I didn't feel as confident as I did in the minors. I think a big thing about baseball in general, not just the big leagues, is that it's easy to get passive in this game, because when you start to get punched in the mouth and the failure starts to creep up and the strikeouts and the pop-ups and all that stuff, you're like, oh man, I just really need to put the barrel on the ball and not strike out. And it's like, no, that doesn't work. Like, you have to somehow talk to yourself to stay aggressive. Like, okay, I'm driving this baseball. Like, I'm going to get that deep breath, but I'm up here to drive the ball. I'm not up here to just touch the ball. I think 99 was the year I was like, okay, let's start having the mentality. You already know you belong up here. Let's start driving the baseball. And I really did. I feel like that mentality helped me so much. And that was, you say, what was I working on? I was working on my mind saying, no, you belong here. Now that you know you belong here, let's start getting aggressive and let's attack. Let's make sure that that pitcher's coming at me. I'm coming at him now. I'm not trying to, like, play patty cake and touch the ball and put it in play. I'm looking to drive the ball, do damage, and be a problem for these guys. And, you know, for me in 99, hitting 330, 25 bombs, almost 100 ribbies, you know, scoring 100 runs, all that stuff. It was really on that mentality of, like, I'm attacking too.
Yeah, career high in homers with 25 that year. Okay, hey, one thing for our fans in Ohio, Sean Casey, mental performance, the biggest thing. He's dominating in that field, and he's got a big program going on. Everybody,
Yeah.
what do you got going?
Yeah. Breakthrough Pro, April 27th. You know, I like to think one of the biggest things about this game, you talk about being aggressive, and we're going to go into the mindset of what it means to be in the batter's box and be on the pitcher's mound and how to play this game. I think one of the biggest things, if I could say, I've created a system now, and we've done some Division I baseball teams. We've done a lot of different programs. But the biggest thing is I think with Breakthrough Pro, we train and build emotional resilience. Emotional resilience, I think, is because you need emotional resilience to play the game of baseball. I don't care who you are. I don't care what age you're at. You need emotional. It's such a game of failure. And what's your relationship to failure? And I think that the biggest thing with Breakthrough Pro is we teach how to train and how to become stronger at being emotionally resilient. And I think that's a huge thing to play this game. At the end of the day, you could have all 5 tools, but that 6th tool of your mind, of how do you get your skills to come out day in and day out, we teach that in Breakthrough Pro. So if you're interested in that, which you should be, if I was a kid or a coach or a parent that's looking to teach my kids, coach the kids, or have my players play the game, that is probably the number one thing I wish someone had taught me at 13 or up, where you really learn, like, oh man, if I strike out, what did I learn? You know, when you look at it, you're trying to get your relationship to failures information, failures feedback. But how do I stay strong in my emotions that I can continue to come back and be great that next pitch, the next at bat, and keep doing it and doing it and do it, have that consistency. So that's what we teach at Breakthrough Pro, April 27th. If you want to become a better player, coach, parent, come join us.
Yeah, I mean, it's baseball is the game of failure. It sounds like a cliche, but it's not, dude.
It's true.
You fail so much in baseball that you got the mental capacity to take that failure. And what do you say? Failure is feedback. So
failure is feedback. Failure is information. And like, Ginge, you played Division I baseball. How many times did you wish you were tough or emotional?
Oh my God, there's so many times where you're like, oh, if I didn't get in my own head, I would
be better
at doing things.
And that's what we do. We all get in our own heads and like, okay, there's a skill to teach yourself how to get yourself to another level of self-talk, where at the end of the day, it's you versus you. You versus you in that box, you versus you in your mind, you versus you against the pitch or whatever it is. At the end of the day, you're competing against the guy. But baseball is golf in a team environment. It's the ultimate one-on-one sport, dude, at the end of the day. That ball, when the ball leaves that guy's hand, now it's a ball coming in. You got to figure out how to hit it. Or if you're on the bump, you got to figure out, how to grab that ball, throw it with conviction, and make sure if something happens, you give up a home run or you punch out, make sure that you're coming back that next pitch is the best version of yourself. And you're an emotionally resilient, tough son of a gun that you can go out and get the job done. And Chinch, we're going to post that clip, I think, today that you helped me do. But it's so true. The bottom line is, in basketball, someone can set a pick for you. In football, someone can pull for you and block for you. Everyone's in baseball. Guess what, guy? It's you versus you, bro. You're on your own. You're on your own. Period. Yeah. So I say, what's going on in that mind? What's going on in the body? Can you control the breath? Can you slow the game down? Can you control your emotions? Can you control yourself? This isn't football. I think a tough thing about baseball, sometimes people think it's football. We're like, I'm going to attack. I'm going to get it done. No, it doesn't work. And do you know how to slow down, how to get things? It's a skill.
It is.
And that's why 95% of guys that get drafted don't get a cup of coffee in the big leagues, because they don't know that skill. That's the reason. There's a ton of talented dudes out there, a ton of guys that are so great. Why don't they ever play a cup of coffee in the big leagues? Why? Because they can't do that. They can't do it every day, and the big leaguers can. So that's what we're teaching at Breakthrough Pro.
There you go. Join the program.
Yeah. Love you, bro.
Love you, buddy.
Thanks, everybody out there. Appreciate you. We'll catch you guys tomorrow, and let's go.